Welcome up to the hopper, y'all. So, I'm just gonna be putting stuff on this channel right now. There's not like a crazy content strategy. I don't know. I think the longer term goal is to talk about nerd stuff, about what I'm doing, and then using that to maybe make a Patreon, or probably not maybe, or maybe only dependent upon if absolutely no human beings watch these videos. So the thing I want to do is talk about nerd shit that I'm doing, in particular because I have leave from my job. I think this is a matter of public record, so I think I can say this. I have leave from my job, so part of that involves working on a project. And this is the things I'm not going to be talking about today are not part of that project intrinsically. But I'll probably talk about that project in another video or a series of videos. So the thing I wanted to talk about was two things. One is this. I wanted to talk about this Cloud Drawer app is what I'm calling it. And then probably talk about some stuff I'm thinking about. So this thing, what is it? So back in the day, this is 2009, dude. I don't know if right now that's depressing, I guess. I made this. This is a band I was friends with called My Only Alibi. I guess I forgot why they reunited or split up or whatever. But they wanted me to make I don't know if I made print versions of these or these were purely just for digital flyers. I guess this was 2009 MySpace was Facebook, MySpace. I don't think so I've lost, there was these images and then a program these were associated with. All I have are these, probably because these were versions that were on the web. So what was this? Or I mean, these were flyers for a show, but I made them with, these were in processing, not unlike what I'm going to talk about today, except they were made with raster images. So these clouds, I don't know if I can even zoom in. These clouds, I drew a bunch of clouds, and then I made it such that when you drew on the screen, you would receive a random one of those clouds. And then I also added, that's not in this new program, a thing with which the speed of the mouse or the delta in position from your last position to your current position would determine the relative size of your stroke. And then I don't know what I was doing in terms of, because this was, I don't know whatever's going on with Java and GPU acceleration or whatever. I'm not a scientist in that respect. So I don't know if I drew these at 360 DPI, 150 DPI. I don't know what it's doing with these. Don't know, straight up, dude. I don't remember what. I've lost the files, both this program and if there were print versions of these, I've lost them in a hard drive crash from will probably be mentioned multiple times. So these are preserved via Tumblr. I believe that I think I set, these were in an archive and I set the date of these to be close to the date that they were posted, I think, something, or I was using Tumblr, some kind of weird archive thing. I believe it was the former, but I could be wrong. Okay, so I wanted to use P5JS because, I don't know, it's like the internet, it's like the future or something I should be caring about, like not doing the old elderly person thing and just making stuff on regular Java, but I couldn't, the thing I wanted to do is output these drawings in a SVG format, some kind of non-rasterized vector format, so that the scale would not be an issue. So I kind of stopped there, and then I ported it. I ported this program to regular processing, Java. So it's, I think I just straight up copy-pasted. And then just kept, you need to change, arrays work differently. In Java, you need to use what are called array lists. Because those do not have a fixed size, and it has this really I don't know. What I find to be a cumbersome syntax, and I don't really have that much of an issue with. I kind of like data typing. I learned programming, I think, for reals programming in high school, and I don't remember. I don't think I learned ActionScript for real. I think I read a book about C++. And C++ has data typing. When I learned programming, what I would consider for real was through Java. It was like a early version of a book by Dan Schiffman, and that was Java, which is also data typing, and it's based on C++. Or I don't know. My understanding is Java was made to appeal to C++ users. So you may be thinking, what's this program, dude? Let's just launch it, right? So I'm going to launch the program. Let me just make sure this is recording still. It's good. It's Gucci, dude. Okay. So what you do, there's no interface in terms of buttons and stuff. That's kind of like part of the next iteration of things. So what you do is you draw, right? So I'll do clouds. Actually, what I should do is the other thing, I'll do numbers, right? So you have slots. So that was slot 0. I'm pressing 1 and I'm drawing in slot 2. Pressing 2, I'm drawing in slot 2. I'm pressing 3, I'm drawing in slot 3. I'm pressing 4 and I'm drawing in slot 4. And I'm pressing 5 and I'm drawing in slot 5, right? So I'm going to clear the screen and then I'll go into P is the key I used. P is painting mode is what I call it. This is kind of like if you've used Mario Paint. Mario Paint has a stamp create. It's pretty robust for like a Super Nintendo program. It has a stamp creation. You can use those stamps and you can save. I don't know if you can save them with like from when you turn the game off. I don't remember if you can do that, but I know that you can. You could save them and then use them later, and you can do cool stuff with them. And there's transparency because of how the layering works. So when you're in painting mode, right? Right now, the last slot I was in was 5, so this is a 5. It has a fill, so that's maybe what looks different. Each drawing enters with it starts rotating is how it works. You can turn the rotation off, so this is close to the stamping that you would get in Mario Paint. Right. And then the other thing you can do, which is why I did the numbers, is you can have this is random rotation. You can add randomized rotation, and then you could have it cycle through the numbers. So there's no holes, so it should be cycling. Let's make it super slow. So I'm going to increase the intervals between frames so you can see if I move about. I think I drew something in the 0th slot, so I don't have a 0. I think I lifted the pen. So you can't lift the pen. That's the other. It's kind of that is very unsophisticated, right? So if we take it back we turn off to drawing, right? So I believe we're in slot 5. I'm going to go to 0. I'm going to try to have some kind of size variation. Like a little one, let's do like a little one, and then like a kind of big one, and then another one like this. And then we go clear the screen, go back into the painting mode. Oh, I didn't, oopsie. So I didn't do 1. Let's do 1. I like these when they have like the little, that in there, and I think I saw 3. It's goofed up. 3, I forget a lot. Let's go back. So yeah, let's decrease the frame interval. All right, let's keep decreasing. Right, this is fast, right? So I'm going to turn these off and then turn this on. So the cool thing, I like this mode. We can change the speed of the rotation. So I was trying to draw like letters like this. And then there's also, you can change the speed of the direction of the rotation if you want. I was drawing, so I'll go back to that in a little bit. So then this is as intended, right? And I didn't add that like size changing thing. I just don't, I like the way this looks actually. So the thing you want to do is kind of like maybe wait or like draw in these until you get a small one. You know. So what did I make the can? 800 by 800? 800 by 800? Where's the can? Yeah. So that's the size of the canvas, right? If you can imagine, the screen is 1920 by 1080. You can imagine that's kind of limiting. So I'm just going to do a few things I thought were cool. Something like doing like towers like this. Stuff's kind of cool. And they're filled, so there's kind of like a faux kind of like a, you know, three-dimensionality. Kind of like, I don't know, these are like really bad Yves Tengai paintings. You know? And then the other thing I was doing was like, it's kind of more like this. Turn the rotation down. Get these like, I don't know, it's nice. Increase it a little bit. Kind of nice, right? I think there's a little bit of jumpiness. I don't know what that is. I am recording on OBS at the same time. So the thing why I was using regular processing is because I wanted to be able to record stuff. So let's, if I say I had to press O, and then it's recording now, right? So whatever I draw here, I'm recording. This is the way I'm used to it. When I know that there is some kind of SVG thing for processing JavaScript P5.js. It seems like you can't live draw to the canvas. It may be some way where you kind of draw and then have the SVG get recorded. I think I think I was too kind of like tunnel visioned on what I wanted it to be, and I didn't let it another answer appear to me. So I recorded that, right? And I pressed Control K. This is the one. Right, so this is the frick. Right, so these are PDFs, and they're vectorized. So I mean, it's going to be a lot of shapes, but it's without, and there's going to be some kind of artifacting in terms of like these ones I was doing before. There's artifacting in terms of if we really zoom in. There's going to be some artifacting just from like how the marks were made. But I mean, I don't know, dude. Getting things that sharp, that close is kind of the thing we're after, and we're not getting JPEG or raster imagery artifacting. So that's the thing we're after. So that was the thing I was doing. This is the things I would like to add are buttons and stuff, make it like a legit program. But this is something I was, the thing I'm trying to use this for is for like a bumper for a new version of a reel. So I think actually it feels kind of pointless because, not pointless, but what I'm probably going to end up doing is just drawing these and then like screen recording them. Because I think, not because it looked bad, I think I just want to screen record like each mark getting drawn. So it's just kind of the thing you have to do now is just kind of like remember what you're doing, and there's a couple other dumb things in it, like you can't lift the pen, otherwise you're like starting a new drawing in that slot. You have to remember what slot you're drawing in. You have to remember which slots have stuff in them. And I think there's some other bad programming. So I have two arrays for X and Y. Feels kind of dumb. And I think there's there's like a vector thing, object that's like a default to processing that I should probably be using. Also because I'm looking at some other stuff. There's stuff that I want to do with having that rotation with the direction you're drawing. Not be kind of, you're not beholden to, kind of drawing at the speed of the rotation, that you would actually just draw and it would be at the angle it thinks the mouse is moving, which would eliminate stuff like this. I figured that out. I think when I started this, it took me a second to figure. I thought it would just be arctangent. It's not arctangent. It's some other shit. Because of how arctangent and the unit circle work, you got to do something else. That was more complicated that I needed a sec to figure out. And then there's also lerping. It's like linear interpolation or whatever. What does lerp stand for? Lerp. Linear. It's just linear interpolation. It's straight up just in processing. Lerp is just in process. So lerp I was able to just kind of implement, and then the rotating with the mouse I've had to. Going to be a separate video with that probably. So I'm going to add the rotating with the mouse into this. At some point, make like a for reals. I have a bunch of like little dumb drawing applications that I should probably just like legitimize in some way. But then I don't know. Like if I export an app with this, I think you need to. I don't know if you still need to like download Java, right? That's part of why I wanted to do the web thing, because if I deployed it, can you export it as? If you exported it as a Canvas application, you can just put it on a website. And that feels kind of like better to me, rather than assuming or forcing people to download Java, right? And I don't think most human beings care about the legitimacy of a EXE or an app program in the same way as they used to. And in fact, I was experiencing this with an application called FontForge that's supposed to be cross-platform. Is that it's not that it's not, but I think there was a security issue because it's a third-party application. I was trying to install it on my Mac. So, there's probably, security issues associated with third-party or just the idea of a guy in the wilderness of a human. I'm trying to say guy in a non-gendered way, of a human in outer space just making a program and putting it on the internet or somewhere is maybe not a thing of the past, but is a thing that is maybe there's more scrutiny. There should be more kind of security-based scrutiny around that. So anyway, I'm not sure totally what that means for like the absolute future of this specific program, but I know that I'm going to add some more robustness to that. I think there's a little bit of, I'm just kind of tired of doing this thing of like making these, the thing I've done a lot in the past of making these dumb little programs that are like have no interface, and I'm just like, for me to draw them. And I was, this kind of segues into the other stuff I want to talk about is, I was watching Ryan Budgen. Am I saying that right? I don't know why I feel. I was invited to something where Ryan Budgen talked. I think he just did something at Cooper about this RISD typeface that he did. But he was talking about this stuff, which is like, this stuff is so sick. Or I think I just have this preconception. I don't know if he's right that he is an independent. He just says he's a typeface designer and type designer first, graphic designer second. He was talking about some stuff that he wrote in Python for RoboFont to make this typeface, and it felt like it just felt like some nerd shit that I had not really. It's not the default of what I think about as the work of a type designer, and I think the thing that I really liked was that I think this was part of being at Type in Media. And kind of getting forced. He characterizes being forced to draw every day. Dude, that looks so sick. I think he was talking about the idea of being forced to draw letters every day, and the kind of effort, the labor of that made him think more about the process of what he was doing in terms of the digital type design. And he was saying, because I I don't know. I think that there's I don't think this is universal, but I think that there's a sense that like, I remember hearing somebody talk about, it was specifically, if it helps to have a face, I don't think this is, I don't think that he'll be mad at me if I talk about this. And will he watch this? I don't know. I don't know. Well, David Cabianca watch this. David Cabianca, if you know who David Cabianca is, I feel like this story will make sense to you. He's also a type designer. He was talking about how, I don't know why he was talking to us about rags, but he was talking about how it just felt like intrinsically the life of being a designer is one of suffering. He was talking about having to reset the rags of a book because there was a client copy change or something, and that's just kind of like how it is. And I think I don't think it was because of that experience, but I think the life of the idea of the life of a designer is when we think of as one of suffering, or not, suffering is too strong a word, but the idea you have to accept the limitations of the tools you have, rather than thinking about what you are or can be is a maker of the tools, right? And I think Ryan Budgen was talking about this way of thinking about like what is fucked about my process of specific. This is a bunch of stuff. Like these were kind of like bespoke scripts that he wrote for this typeface to do these kind of like variations. But he was talking about just like other kind of Python stuff that he'd written that was just like helps you figure out stuff that's let's just say annoying in type design. I think that way of thinking just really resonated with me, I don't think it changed the trajectory of my life, but I think it's a way of thinking about specifically within the realm of type design that I hadn't thought about before. It just felt like type design is this like arcane thing that exists outside of me. Like I don't know what's a similar thing like welders or something. I don't know, like some arcane ability that just exists external to me, right? So I think that it felt really kind of grokkable or reachable. And dude, look at this pairing looks so good, right? Like or this triumvirate of type of this like this sans serif, this weirdo thing, display thing, and then I don't know what that is, but it looks super chill together, dude. And so yeah, the other thing I want to talk about that was kind of a okay transition. I'm just thinking about the idea of being a stranger and de-strangering oneself, and I think of specifically the idea of de-strangering, and then I was thinking of that was the word I've been thinking of, and why there's not really terms in English for the act of maintaining human relationships. There's not like words we have for that, you know. There's like meeting people, but there's not like meeting. There's like losing touch, but there's not like I don't know, maybe I'm just like tunnel visioning on this because I want it to sound cool, but I think there's not like a ton of language we have around the idea of like cultivating relationships when they're fucked, or when, I don't know, somebody has a drug problem and you don't talk to them for 10 years, or just like you're just, I don't know, sad. And I'm thinking about this because I've just been thinking about the trajectory of the past of my life for a number of reasons. One is because at the same thing that Ryan, I'm just going to show it on the screen. I think it's fine if I talk them up because it's not a secret, dude. I think it's kind of a matter of public record that this website's on the public internet, and this person, boyish type Gwen, was my student, and it was just really. They also talked at this thing that I was at. I think I can't talk about that. I don't know how public that thing is, but they were just talking. They did this presentation about their work, and it was just like. It was just really lovely, and I think it made me feel like in The Last Jedi, there's this scene when Yoda appears, and it's like, okay, aside kind of, this is the first time they've not fucked up Yoda since the original movies. I haven't watched all the Clone Wars, but this is the first time they've not fucked up Yoda, and Yoda just felt he looked the puppet looked correct, or if it was CG, it looked clearly like they did some kind of modeling of it as if there was a hand inside a puppet. Yoda talks about this thing. I forget the exact quote. I don't want to just like look up the Last Jedi quotes right now. It's like, well, actually, we can look up. I just don't want to get copyright stricken for the scene. Trying to look up the scene. It's, what is it? Last Jedi, Burden of All Masters. We are what they grow. This is on Reddit, so I presume it's on the official Star Wars Reddit. I'm presuming this is correct. We are what they grow beyond. That is the burden, the true burden of all masters. That is the true burden of all masters, right? So it feels deeply uncomfortable to call myself a master of anything. It's really powerful to see somebody that. I think Gwen was kind of beyond the moment I met her. I don't know. I don't know if she kind of has realized this. But Gwen was always kind of flying. I think it's a matter of just like kind of like blowing it, keeping the winds going for her to keep flying, In my opinion, I think there's some people you teach and you're like, I don't know. I'm supportive and I'm here. And I think she also made me realize the power of just like being supportive is like a huge thing. And I think it just, I wasn't kind of aware of the kind of palpability of that because I was just like, I'm just here, dude. Like, why would I not be here? But it's just great seeing people like the things you've done have kind of like plant seeds that are external to you that you don't have to necessarily water all the time, that people are watering the seed of their own actualization, I don't need to extend this metaphor. But it's just great hearing them talk again and feeling like the thing of what I'm doing as my job, which is teaching, has some effect that is non-zero and positive in some way. And I wasn't aware of how good the relationship with this person, Dixie, but it was great seeing that they were just like, had somebody who was like super, super supportive, that they're with, and it's just like, it's great, So, and I think that's the other thing I'm thinking about is I've not been. This will probably be another thing that I talk about. Is I've not been diagnosed
with autism.
When I was in therapy, my therapist was telling me that one of their other patients had gotten an adult diagnosis, and a lot of the things that he was talking about sounded like things that I had talked about, and I should probably consider getting or attempting to get a diagnosis. And I think, I don't think I'm horrible at eye contact, but I know there's issues around eye contact and certain things. And then I don't know, people have made me feel as though more recently that the ability to be obsessed with things is some form of neurodivergence. So I've just been thinking about, the other thing that's been happening for me is when I have breaks from school. So this is the summertime and the winter. I get really sad, right? And I don't know what that thing is. And I think it's some version of like the structure of my day is totally the structure of my time is totally metamorphosing. And I think something about that is that structure being kind of released from me is really has emotional effects. And I've just been thinking, it's also because, I don't know, when I was in undergraduate school and I'm kind of like teaching undergraduate school, I was taking the Long Island Railroad because I grew up on Long Island. And the Metro North, which I take now, it's the same like train cars. So I've just been feeling like a Proustian kind of travel that I'm doing, experience that I'm having on the train that has made me just think about the past and like how I acted in situations. That was probably, I don't know, maybe it's neurodivergence, dude. Might have been that. And it feels almost like a 12-step thing where I've just been thinking about people and like, I was thinking about one time in fucking middle school when I flipped out on somebody. Not like, I just was not like, I didn't yell at them, but I was just way more rude than I should have been. And it's because I was drawing something by myself and they like interrupted me, and I was like, I was really pissy about it, and it's always bothered me. Like, why did I do that? And I'm thinking now, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's autistic, bro. Anyway, so I'm not claiming it, but I forgot how I got on this tangent, but I've just been thinking about the past, and so in terms of this idea of strangering or destrangering, it's just been kind of re-evaluating. It's both in terms of, seeing the student again, and then that day it happened to be that I got invited to two things in the same day, which like never happens. But I saw some people who I was in a band with, just people who, one of whom went to the same high school as me. I don't know. It seemed like they were all kind of like doing their thing. Like one of them's married, having a kid, and it's just like, it's just great seeing people just doing their thing and kind of maturing. And it was just a really good experience, like both of those kind of social experiences. So I think I was just thinking about the value of like having friends and cultivating relationships, and knowing that even if you're not doing the work of saying like, hey, how are you doing? I care about you, whatever, or let's hang out, that those people still care about you. And that it's like, it does, it's not great for the relationship to just like not talk to people. But that the care is still there. The kind of emotional tethering of care is still there. And it's like good to know that that's still there. I was thinking also about why I brought up the neurodivergence thing is because I think I was thinking about the idea of relating to oneself as a stranger. COVID has totally changed my perception of time, and there's things that I'm like, that was 5 years ago, that was 10 years ago, that are difficult to think about as being that far away in terms of time. And I think kind of being kind to that person and trying to be kind to myself now. I think that there's both positive and negative versions of that, right? That I'm not like the same person I was, right? There's positive aspects to that and negative aspects, like, right? Like at somewhere after COVID, I lost like 60 pounds, and then was probably overtraining and like gained 10 to 20-ish pounds back. So I'm still down 40, right? So I think like, I think I've totally, and this is probably another thing I'll talk about, but I've changed my relationship to fitness in a way that I think is not going to go away. And I think I'm glad that, that person who's like, how can I change this shit, is a stranger to me right now. But then I know, when I'm really upset and having a bad day and like, I need some chicken tendies right now, that I know that guy is still there, and, he needs to think about the world in a different way, or not, that it's okay to have chicken tendies sometimes, but that's not the solution to the problem. So I've just been thinking about that stuff and my relationship to both myself as a stranger, right? Both me in the past being a stranger to my future self, and me in the now being a stranger to my past selves. And then in terms of my actual interpersonal relationships. And just the thing I'm thinking about. So I think I'm probably going to structure these videos like a tech thing I'm doing, and then probably less graceful transitions into a thing I'm thinking about. And then eventually the thing I would like to do is structure in such a way where I can make like a long ass video that is me saying, if you're watching this and seeing me, you're seeing this stuff. You're seeing, which I don't think is crazy complicated, but I know like if you're never programmed before, you're like, you're in the Matrix, dude. You're in the Matrix, dude. I don't think I can do it in terms of like teaching like Java full stop. Well, I probably will assume people have some knowledge of Java or some programming language, and I can talk about how like I had the structure in my mind, like you make a little drawing program. So I have the structure of these kinds of things in my mind. I may do that. I may just like start doing that. Probably we'll do some. I think I have to look at how Patreon works. I don't know how Patreon. The thing I'm thinking about Patreon because one of my students was telling me that she also she found some. It was someone who did like chromed text in Blender that she found on. She said TikTok. Ginny? I didn't subscribe to them. It seems kind of hyper specific. Materials are It's pretty hyper specific, but I think like this seems like a cool, a cool structure. Because I don't know what's going on with. I was thinking about like why I'm interested in Patreon is also because I saw something about what was this thing called? Jackconte. Was it South by Southwest? It's a little bit more less clickbaity than it appears to sound. But it's a nice talk, and it's just like I think this is another thing I was thinking about. Like this dude kind of started around the time I finished college, and I think like what he's built and that he still seems like the same dude. I don't know. He's wearing a fanny pack. He's wearing a cap. He's wearing like I don't know a cool sweater. He doesn't seem like I don't know weirdo like Jack Dorsey, the guy who used to be the CEO of Twitter. He doesn't seem like a weirdo. I think this was actually the idea of the talk he's giving is kind of less profound than maybe it sounds like the death of the follower. But it was just a nice talk, I thought, and it made me think like, oh, I should just like this Patreon. They just do Patreon or something, and probably would be really. I don't know. I guess I'm talking about this at length because of. I think I wanted to set up a Patreon, and I was like, what do I even have to Patreonize? But probably we'll try to make the financial model as least aggressive as possible. So like maybe like $1 to look at stuff, or like I think there's a way you can do like 7 days free or something. So I'll look into that stuff and probably post it. I have a couple more weeks of school, and then I'm kind of like off to the races. So if I don't know when you would be watching this, but if a Patreon tutorial doesn't exist for the circle drawing program, I can certainly accelerate if you're like, I would love to see that, dude. And then, sorry, one last nerd thing, and then I'm out. Is crazy cool thing. I ported this program from P5.js to Java by hand, but kind of crazy cool thing is that I just put there's another program I did. I was trying to figure out this. I was looking at this program because I don't know if this will look cool, right? So I made this at some point. This is a similar time, like it had to be 2010, 2011 or something. I don't know. No. It had to be a longer time ago. I think maybe I rewrote it so like some of the trigonometry stuff was a little bit cuter code-wise. So this, I was thinking like it rotates in the direction it thinks the mouse is going, right? And then I remember thinking like, why does it, there's something was messing up. So part of this I was trying to figure out, and then I was trying to ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT, I just copy pasted this. Dude, I just copy pasted the Java version of this, and then it auto ported it to P5.js. Kind of a sick incidental thing. And I'm not paying for ChatGPT. It just auto ported it. I think that it didn't ultimately help me. ChatGPT for this one specific issue, because I didn't know what I was trying to do, and I think the ultimate solution was to not do the exact thing I was doing, because this actually appears to work. Like there's some like little errors like this that I think are not cute, but it appears to work as though it's rotating towards the mouse. But there's, again, whatever the unit circle issue I was experiencing is still here. It's still within this. It's just you can't see it because the marks scale up, right? If you move 1 pixel, right, somewhere in here, there's still the error that I will talk about more in another video. I just wanted to talk about the idea that you can just this was a Java program that I just pasted into ChatGPT. I don't even think I asked it to port the program for me, and it just auto ported it to P5.js. Kind of sick, dude. So I think this didn't have any array lists. I'm curious how complex a thing you could just paste into ChatGPT and it'll just port it for you. The main issue with this program porting it was the array lists, and there's a couple other things about. I think it was like instantiating array lists is slightly different, or what it understands to be an instantiation of a variable is different when there's not data typing. Something with that was messing up. The thing I'm trying to do is I'm just talking, dude. I'm just going to talk, dude. And I have this automatic kind of filter in my head that I'm talking too much about nerd stuff. But this is the place I'm going to give myself. This is the place for grace. It's the place for grace, dude. I'm trying to give myself the grace to just talk about nerd stuff, or at least have this as a place to kind of like if you've ever seen a trombone, it's kind of disgusting. Trombone valve, spit. It's disgusting. This is like, I don't know. High schools across the nation are covered in the spittle of pubescent children. High schools across the nation are covered in this is carpet. That's disgusting, dude. I don't know where what the etiquette. I didn't learn to play trumpet, so I don't know the etiquette around this. So you put your mouth on this instrument, right? If you put your mouth on a trombone to play it, right? You need. I guess I think part of the etiquette is you're supposed to get your own mouthpiece, and I think mouthpieces are pretty affordable. But I think most people rent the actual instrument, at least for the year or the semester. I don't know what music stores do. I played drums in high school, right? And then because you're blowing into this thing, spit gets in it, so you need to release the spit with what's called a spit valve, right? So it's kind of disgusting. What's the etiquette around this, dude? This is like if you asked young children to spit on the floor I don't know how long it takes for the spit to be kind of built up. Anyway, the metaphor I'm trying to make is that this is the place where I release the spit valve of talking about nerd shit, so that when I'm around people for whom that's not the appropriate place in the curriculum of a graphic design program, which is what I teach them, to talk about the data typing of Java, it's not the appropriate place to talk about in an intro to a class that's an intro to web, people who are intimidated by CSS and HTML. If you're intimidated by that, this is going to hurt you, I think some people also just, I don't know how math is taught. I know I have some understanding of what Common Core is, but I think if you have trauma around math, there's still algebra, and you see this kind of stuff that has an algebraic kind of aesthetic, and I think the other thing is, I don't know, managing. You got to get used to just managing brackets and stuff. That is kind of unfun about this in JavaScript too. Python is lovely, dude, in terms of you don't have to manage brackets. You have to manage indentation, but it's like part of the syntax. Is kind of awesome. So anyway, that was the first hopper. So we talked about Cloud Drawer going from P5.js, starting in P5.js, and then going to regular Java because I wanted to do the ability to export vectorized content. And then I talked about Ryan Budgen in the midst of that in terms of nerd stuff, in order to transition to talking about the idea of strangering or destrangering. And that's it. Bye.